Imagine you're sitting here, fully aware of the sights, sounds, and thoughts flowing through your mind. You have this undeniable sense of being, but what's behind it? Does consciousness come solely from your brain, or is there something more mysterious at play? This question has intrigued philosophers, scientists, and thinkers for centuries. Today, we're going on a journey to explore the mystery of consciousness, challenging everything you think you know about what it means to be aware. The first thing to consider is that, without a doubt, the brain plays a massive role in consciousness. Colin Blakemore, a leading neuroscientist, points out that almost nobody in science disputes the brain's role in producing consciousness. Brain activity is linked to every thought, emotion, and sensation we experience. But here's the twist: is the brain enough to explain consciousness fully? Or does consciousness go beyond it? Let's start with what we know. Our brains are made up of billions of neurons, each connecting to thousands of others, forming complex networks. When these neurons fire in patterns, they create thoughts, perceptions, and memories. Science has shown that specific areas of the brain correlate with certain experiences, like vision, movement, and emotion. In other words, if a particular part of the brain is damaged, specific aspects of our conscious experience are affected. This has led many scientists to conclude that the brain doesn't just correlate with consciousness, it produces it.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
But even Blakemore himself admits that this explanation, while powerful, feels incomplete. He calls it the inner subjectivity problem. Think about it. You can explain how neurons interact, but can you explain why this interaction creates an experience of feeling? Why does a network of electrical impulses lead to a rich, vibrant awareness of the world? This is known as the hard problem of consciousness. We can describe the mechanics of the brain, but that doesn't explain why we have an inner experience of being. Now imagine if we could somehow build a machine with all the complexity of the human brain. Could it be conscious? Many scientists say yes, but others aren't so sure. Blakemore and others suggest that consciousness might require more than just physical matter. It could require something that's not just neurons and synapses. But if that's true, where would this something come from? This is where the concept of consciousness as a fundamental force comes into play. Just as gravity or electromagnetism are fundamental forces that shape the universe, some thinkers propose that consciousness might be a fundamental aspect of reality itself. If true, this would mean that consciousness isn't merely a product of our brains. Instead, it's a force or field that the brain taps into, like a radio tuning into a broadcast. But here's a question to consider: if consciousness is a fundamental force, then how does it interact with the brain? Does it guide our thoughts, our choices, and our perceptions? Or is it something passive that just observes? If consciousness truly exists outside the brain, it challenges everything we know about identity, purpose, and even the nature of reality itself. Stay tuned for the next part, where we explore the idea of consciousness as a non-local phenomenon and dive into fascinating studies that suggest our awareness may extend beyond the brain. Welcome back. So far, we've explored the idea that consciousness might be more than just brain activity. Now, let's dive deeper into this idea of non-local consciousness, the idea that consciousness might exist outside the confines of the brain. One of the most intriguing aspects of consciousness is that it doesn't seem confined to any one location. When we talk about the seat of consciousness, many people point to the brain. But there are countless stories of people who experience things they shouldn't be able to while their brains are offline. Take near-death experiences, for example. There are documented cases where people have been clinically dead with no detectable brain activity and yet report vivid experiences. They describe seeing themselves from above, moving through tunnels, or encountering loved ones. These reports are challenging for science because if the brain is dead, where are these experiences coming from? Some scientists suggest that near-death experiences are simply the brain's final hallucinations as it shuts down. But this doesn't account for people accurately describing details from rooms far away from where their body lay. If these reports are even partially true, they suggest that our awareness can, in some way, operate independently of the brain. This brings us to an exciting theory: consciousness might be non-local. Imagine consciousness as a field, like gravity or a magnetic field, that's not tied to any one location. In this view, the brain isn't the creator of consciousness, but rather a receiver, tuning into a field of awareness that exists everywhere. Blakemore and others are skeptical of this idea, pointing out that consciousness feels so personal, so tied to our experiences, that it seems inseparable from the brain. But the evidence is far from settled, and as science explores this field further, we may find answers that challenge our current understanding. Another phenomenon that supports this idea of non-local consciousness is remote viewing, the ability to perceive details about a distant or unseen location. While controversial, some studies suggest that individuals can, under certain conditions, describe far-off places or events with surprising accuracy. If consciousness were confined to the brain, how would this be possible? Skeptics argue that these results are often unreliable, but proponents believe it suggests that the mind can extend beyond the physical body. Now, let's bring this down to a practical level. If consciousness truly extends beyond the brain, what does that mean for us in our daily lives? It might mean that we're connected in ways we can't see. It could mean that our thoughts, feelings, and even intentions impact the world around us, even if we're not physically present. Imagine if every thought you had created a subtle ripple, not just in your brain, but in a wider field of consciousness. How would this knowledge change the way you approach your thoughts, your relationships, your goals? This idea has profound implications for things like meditation and mindfulness. When we meditate, we're often told to focus on our breath or our bodies. But if consciousness isn't confined to the brain, then meditation might be more than just a way to calm our minds. It could be a way to tune into a universal field of awareness. Imagine that every time you sit in stillness, you're not just calming your brain, you're tapping into a source of insight, intuition, and peace that exists beyond you. Now, before we get too far ahead, remember that this theory is still in the early stages. Colin Blakemore and others emphasize that while non-local consciousness is fascinating, we need more evidence to understand how it might work. But the possibilities are exciting, and the journey of discovery is just beginning. Stay with us for the final part, where we'll discuss the implications of consciousness as a force and how you can harness the power of this understanding to live a more meaningful, connected life. Coming up, the power of awareness living in harmony with a conscious universe. All right, you've made it to the final part of our journey. Let's take everything we've explored about consciousness and put it into practice. If consciousness really does extend beyond the brain, then each of us is part of a larger, interconnected field of awareness. So how can we use this knowledge to lead richer, more purposeful lives? First, let's talk about intention. If consciousness is non-local, then our intentions, our thoughts and feelings might impact more than just ourselves. You've probably heard of the butterfly effect, where small actions can lead to big changes. If our consciousness is connected to a larger field, then our thoughts could be like those butterfly wings, creating ripples across reality. Start by setting an intention every morning. Think about what you want to bring into the world: kindness, resilience, curiosity, whatever feels right. When you set this intention, you're not just focusing your mind, you might be influencing the field of consciousness around you, creating positive ripples in your day and beyond. Second, embrace mindfulness and meditation as tools to connect with this wider awareness. When you meditate, imagine that you're tuning into a field of consciousness that's bigger than yourself. Visualize your awareness expanding beyond your body, connecting with the energy of the universe. This practice can create a profound sense of peace, as it reminds you that you're not alone. You're part of something greater, something mysterious yet beautiful. And here's a big one: trust your intuition. If consciousness extends beyond the brain, then intuition might be more than just a gut feeling. It could be the mind's way of tapping into a larger field of information, guiding us in ways that logic can't explain. The next time you're faced with a decision, take a moment to quiet your mind and listen to that inner voice. Trust that you're receiving guidance from a place that goes beyond ordinary thought. Lastly, remember that the mystery of consciousness isn't something to be solved, it's something to be explored. Colin Blakemore suggests that consciousness may forever remain a mystery, something we don't fully understand. And that's okay. Embrace the wonder of not knowing, of living in a universe that still holds secrets. This mystery can fuel a lifelong journey of learning, connecting, and growing. As we wrap up, take this thought with you: consciousness might be more than what happens in our brains. It could be a force that connects us all, something that flows through each of us and ties us into a vast, universal web of awareness. If consciousness is indeed a field or force that extends beyond our individual minds, then every one of us is part of a greater whole, contributing to a collective experience of life that's richer and more profound than we can imagine. So let's take a moment to reflect on how we can live with this understanding. If we're part of a conscious universe, then each thought, each action is a contribution to the world. Imagine if we treated every interaction as an opportunity to add to the collective awareness with kindness, empathy, and understanding. This idea isn't just theoretical, it's practical, because how we choose to live and think affects not just us but everyone and everything around us. What would it mean to live as if we're all connected by a shared consciousness? For one, it encourages us to see ourselves in others. It's easy to think of ourselves as separate from those around us, but if we're all part of a larger awareness, then every act of kindness, every bit of compassion, is a way of nourishing this shared consciousness. The smallest gestures become powerful. When seen through this lens, they're a way of giving back to something much bigger than ourselves. And let's think about creativity. If consciousness is a force that goes beyond the brain, then our creative ideas might not just come from within, they could be expressions of something larger, insights that flow through us from this universal field of awareness. When you're inspired, when a new idea just seems to click, consider the possibility that you're tuning into a greater source of wisdom. Embrace those moments of creativity, they're reminders that we're connected to something extraordinary. Finally, as you go forward, embrace the wonder of it all. Consciousness may be one of life's greatest mysteries, a question we may never fully answer. But perhaps the point isn't to find a final answer, but to engage with the question. By staying open to the mystery, By being curious and embracing the unknown, we allow ourselves to be part of an endless journey of discovery. So let's make a choice together right now to live with a sense of purpose, connection, and curiosity. Remember that consciousness, whether it's confined to the brain or extends beyond it, is something precious. It's what allows us to feel, to imagine, to wonder. By honoring this experience, by living with intention and openness, we contribute to the beauty and complexity of this conscious universe. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. As you leave, take this sense of connection with you. Keep questioning, keep dreaming, and keep experiencing the incredible mystery of consciousness. Remember, you are part of something far greater than yourself, a web of awareness that connects us all. And who knows? One day we may understand the true nature of consciousness. But until then, let's embrace the journey, because the journey itself is the miracle. And as we continue on this journey of discovery, let's carry forward the realization that consciousness, whether fully understood or not, is at the very heart of what it means to be alive. This awareness, this aliveness that each of us experiences is something we can cultivate, deepen, and expand by how we choose to live each day. Imagine each moment of awareness as a ripple in the field of consciousness. Every thought, every intention, every act of kindness and creativity sends a ripple through the web that connects us all. This perspective transforms even our smallest actions. No longer are they just private, isolated choices, they're part of the unfolding story of consciousness itself, reaching out to impact the lives and awareness of others, often in ways we may never see or understand. So here's something practical as you move forward. Start paying closer attention to those moments of heightened awareness. When you feel inspired, connected, or peaceful, recognize these as moments when you might be tuning into something beyond yourself, something shared and infinite. Nurture these moments, they're gifts, hints of a deeper consciousness that's all around us, waiting to be felt and acknowledged. Take time each day to reflect on what you've experienced and learned. Journaling, meditation, or simply pausing to think can help you tune into this deeper awareness. Over time, you may find that your understanding of yourself and your connection to others deepens. You may notice patterns, insights, and a stronger sense of intuition emerging. These small practices help you stay in touch with this shared consciousness, making it easier to live in harmony with the world around you. And let's not forget the power of community. If consciousness extends beyond our individual brains, then every meaningful connection with others strengthens the web of awareness we're all a part of. So engage with people around you. Share ideas, ask questions, and seek to understand perspectives different from your own. These exchanges enrich not only our personal lives, but also the greater collective awareness we all share. As we close, I want to leave you with one final thought. Consciousness may very well be the greatest mystery of existence. But perhaps this mystery isn't something to be solved, it's something to be experienced, cherished, and explored. Each day, we're given the gift of awareness, the chance to feel, to connect, and to understand in ways that go beyond words or theories. Thank you for being part of this exploration into consciousness. Remember, you are not just an individual mind confined to a single body. You are part of a vast, interconnected web of awareness, a field of consciousness that spans across time, space, and life itself. So go out there, live with purpose, embrace each moment, and contribute to this incredible journey. The mystery of consciousness may remain, but as long as we're alive, we're living it, one thought, one breath, and one experience at a time.